Hi, beautiful. Whenever I talk about the idea of the global attack on the womb and the often quite complex stuff that accompanies this, I get a lot of feedback, understandably so. Initially, I tried to put all of this in writing, but it was becoming way too long of an email. So I decided to record a video instead. So here's an attempt, perhaps part one of my understanding of why it is so important for all of us to understand what's happening on our planet right now, why we indeed are under attack on so many fronts, and what the bigger picture behind all of this is. So let me start by acknowledging that we all carry feminine and masculine energies within us. These energies have nothing to do with biological sex, so male or female, nor with socially constructed gender stereotypes, such as men don't cry and women are weak. These are universal principles like the yin and yang symbol, where both light and dark exist in harmony next to each other, with a little bit of the yin found within the yang side and a little bit of yang found within the yin side as well. So when we talk about feminine and masculine energies within, the masculine energy is usually connected with things like taking action, doing, being on the go, decisiveness, rational thinking, and so on. Whereas the feminine energy is connected more with being and receiving, more to do with emotions and intuition and so on. And when these energies are in harmony, when the Shakti and Shiva energies within us are engaged in a beautiful dance together or making love to each other, there's more harmony in our lives as well. When one of these energies becomes dominant, for example, when we are constantly hustling and trying to achieve results within a very masculine kind of energy without honoring our body's need to simply also be and receive intuitive guidance, that's when we become out of balance. And the more consciously we learn to play with these energies, the more masterful we become at walking the path of being human, of being a spirit in a 3D body. So let's now move to the idea of this global attack on the womb. And this topic just simply cannot be talked about without addressing the so-called woke agenda and the resultant gender dysphoria that is on a huge rise on our planet. Before I go any deeper, though, it's really, really important that you understand that I am not attacking any specific individuals here. I'm talking about a system, a carefully planned and a very solidly kept together system or a structure that's been built for a very, very long time. It's also important for you to understand that I am fully aware of and honor, for example, the existence of two-spirit people, individuals who inhabit both male and female spirit within them, and whose existence has been acknowledged by and honored by Native Americans, possibly since the beginning of time. I also recognize and honor the existence of intersex people, who are individuals born with genitalia of both sexes. And I honor them and the challenges they are likely to face on their paths, especially if their biological sex was chosen by their parents at birth or soon after, which essentially would have meant the performing of an operation during which the genitalia are altered to conform to one biological sex. And the consequences of that for the individual can be quite harrowing. I also have deep respect for individuals who feel that they have been born into a biological body that does not feel aligned to them. For example, an individual who is born into a woman's body, but everything else about them tells them that they are a man. And they wish to undertake the often incredibly challenging journey of transitioning into a male body. including the removal of breasts and the reconstruction of their sexual organs into those of a man. What I really want to draw everyone's attention to is the global system that is very intentionally sowing confusion about what it means to be a woman or a man, and within which children as young as 3 or 4 or 5 are now being exposed to information that literally grooms them to question not just their identity, but also their biological sex. And where teenagers are encouraged to undergo what are irreversible, often incredibly dangerous medical and surgical procedures, instead of receiving age-appropriate counseling focused on their quest for identity. And there are way too many examples of individuals suffering terrible health consequences as a result of these kinds of procedures, and way too many examples of individuals wanting to desperately detransition back to their original sex because they feel that all these procedures were done to them at way too early of an age when they were actually not really capable of even understanding what was happening, nor to really question the process in and of itself. It is this very same system that also exposes us to toxins and endocrine system altering hormones through the water we drink, the foods that we eat, and the air we breathe. And that just a couple of years ago convinced a large part of the Earth's population that a newly invented so-called vaccine was the only thing that could save us from a global pandemic. Unfortunately, we are now seeing the catastrophic results of these so-called vaccines, particularly when we talk about the attack on the womb in relation to turbo cancers and other illnesses and diseases related to the reproductive organs, the womb, the cervix, and so on. And also in the challenges that women are having with their menstrual cycles, and also in terms of conception, full-term pregnancies, and births, and having healthy babies. It's also being reflected in weakening sperm counts and the quality of sperm in men. And I'm not going to even go into the strokes and the heart attacks and the autoimmune diseases that have sadly become so very prevalent on our planet. Another example of the attack on the womb is the deliberate erosion of the sanctity of womanhood and the sanctity of motherhood. Here, the most important thing to remember is that creation is inherently a feminine principle. All life comes through the womb, is birthed through the womb, through the body of a woman. And this sacred role is being eroded by a narrative that makes us believe that men can become pregnant and give birth and even breastfeed. So we're talking about artificial wombs, and we're talking about hormonally induced secretions from men's breasts that absolutely lack all of the miraculous qualities of mother's milk. Can you see how this is all attacking the sanctity of women, and what it means to be a woman? Of course, the man's role is important. The man provides the seed for the creation of new life, but the nurturance and the nourishing of that seed, the birthing of the baby, that is biologically the role of a woman. And when we take this even further, we then come to the transhumanist and the post-humanist agenda. In the transhumanist agenda, humans are viewed as a weak species that need to be enhanced through machinery and through artificial intelligence. So the idea that our consciousness can be uploaded to a machine and that we can be fused with different kinds of machinery so that we become superior, a superior species, and that we overcome those innate weaknesses that we possess simply by being humans. And what this automatically leads to is that we start to lose those qualities that make us human. Our ability to love, to feel, to empathize, to care, to sympathize, to acknowledge the sacredness of all life, to feel this connectedness, this oneness with nature, with Mother Earth herself. And she, of course, is a living, breathing being too. And the transhumanist agenda will do away with that as well. And again, what's intriguing about this is that these qualities, this love, empathizing, caring, acknowledging our divinity, the divine spark within us, these are all feminine qualities. So when we lose that, we are getting rid of the sacred feminine. And the more machine-like we become, the less of a need there is for birth to happen through the body of a woman. Okay. The post-humanist agenda goes even further. In this agenda, there's no need for humans at all. We can be completely done away with as a species, and the world will simply be run by machines and by artificial intelligence. And this is why it is so very important to understand what's actually going on our planet right now with this push for artificial intelligence, with all these narratives around transhumanism and posthumanism and the woke agenda around what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman. And we are literally in a gnostic battle between good and evil, as cliche as that may sound, where the stakes are no less than the future of humanity and the future of our beautiful planet. And this is why we need to be rooting into love more than ever before. Love is the most powerful elixir that is available to us on this planet of ours. And it is love that can conquer the darkest, the most evil of agendas. But we need to be conscious about connecting with that love, working with that love, sharing that love, shining and radiating that love to everyone and everything around us. We need to consciously remember, reclaim, embody, and act as if we are divine, because we are divine. We need to remember this. And we need to remember that all life is sacred and worth preserving, worth loving, and worth holding on to. I hope that makes sense. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And I wish you the most amazing day. Bye for now.